So we're Sparky Pants. I'm Stuart Jeff. I'm the lead designer on Dropzone, the game we'll be playing today. So Sparky Pants is a pretty new company, but it's a group of people who've been working together for a really long time. Jason Coleman, our president, he was one of the founders of Big Huge Games. So we made Rise of Nations together, Rise of Legends, and a lot of our core group came from those early RTS days.
Okay. Where are you from?
So we're based out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Oh, okay.
In the U.S. And so, you know, when we first started Sparky Pants, we started getting together some of the best people that we had worked with through the years, particularly from the RTS days at Big Huge Games. And we all crammed ourselves down into Jason Coleman's basement.
Really?
The game development dream, right?
Okay. So
we're all crammed into this little space together, and this is kind of the height of the basement. I mean, there were about 15 of us at the time. Now we have proper offices, and we're about 40 people these days. But you know, at this time though, we one thing that was really cool about it was it gave us a chance to kind of hone our craft together and develop a development methodology that we feel has really served this game well. And the heart of it is something we call the daily game. So the daily game, we do this to this day. Every single day, we all stop what we're doing at 11 o'clock in the morning, and we get together, and we have 2 people play the game, and then everyone else in the company watches them play. And after the match is over, we all talk about it. So there's, you know, the practical basis for that is it gives everybody a chance to kind of see their work in the game, make sure it looks how they're expecting, gives us a chance to, you know, put our heads together to solve problems, that sort of thing. But it also gives us a chance for everyone in the company to give feedback on the design, on the feel of the game, on the technology. Every single day we do this. The entire company, I mean, the full staff.
Setzt sich jeden Tag um 11 Uhr hin, dann alle auf zur Arbeit, dann spielen 2 Leute und hinterher reden sie mit allen darüber, was es ist.
Now, this is great for the player as well, because when you compete head-to-head against your friends, and then all your friends are watching you do this, you know, you stop thinking like a developer and you start thinking like a player. We're a competitive group, you know, and you want to win when you're doing that. And so we've been thinking about this game from the player's perspective from very early on. Also, because everyone else is watching, you get a chance to think about what the observer experience is like. And with streaming and esports being so popular today, I feel like it's really important to think about that experience from day one.
Are you a player?
Am I? Like a pro player?
No.
Oh, all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not like I'm not a great player. You won't see me on the stage or anything.
Matter, but I met last year. I met a game developer. The game was pretty boring, and I asked him, "Are you a player?" No, never.
Really?
Yes. And I just thought, why?
I can't imagine developing a game I didn't play. Like I wouldn't know how to do my job. No, but you know, for us, one of the things that's been so cool about this game is how much our team is playing it. Like, you know, lunch hour, people are playing it. People go home and play it. Like, we're always playing it. And, you know, this isn't just the design staff. We have, you know, the art staff, the quality assurance people, like the programmers. They're, you know, regardless of discipline, everybody just playing it for fun. And I think you'll see that it comes through, and that it's a, you know, it's a passion project, right? Like, you know, it comes from the heart. And, you know, this is our first leaderboard implementation. So we had this hanging on the wall at the basement to keep track of, you know, how everyone compared against one another.
Where are you?
Oh, let's not talk about it. I'm right here at number 7.
Oh, okay.
I joke with Jason Coleman, he's our president. I think this is the highest ranking he ever achieved in the history of the game. Now he's way off the back. He was number 2.
So the champion was the president.
Oh no, number 2.
Because everyone who beats him gets fired.
There you go. No, but, you know, what we realize, we're all competitive players, and we love esports, and you know, this is what we just want to make, just because that's what we love. And you know, making something that's as much fun to watch as it is to play was also something really important to us. The output of all this work has been Dropzone. You know, I mentioned we were RTS developers. We love RTS. We started playing them, you know, back in Dune and, you know, the early days of RTS. And we're not really playing them that much these days, though. You know, it feels like it's gotten hard for traditional RTSs to really change things up. You know, perhaps they've gotten a little bit stale. It's hard to mess with the formula, especially when you've got huge fan bases like the StarCraft fan base. They don't want to see a lot of change. That makes it harder to bring new people in and get them excited about the genre. And a lot of people have, a lot of strategy game fans have flocked to MOBAs, playing League of Legends and Dota and things like that. And we love those games as well, but particularly the combat. It's just so exciting, all the positional play, seeing all the ability combos, and they're fun to watch the shoutcast and things like the international and stuff like that. It's awesome. But it doesn't really feel like the old RTS stuff to us. It doesn't scratch that itch that we have for that, you know, that sort of original experience.
So you have the e-sport aspect over your mind when you started this?
So, I mean, it all kind of factors in, right? Like, this is the game that we wanted to make because this is the game we wanted to play. And we kind of looked around and were like, hey, I think there might be a market for this. Like, other people may want to play this too. So they really kind of go hand in hand. And but you know, we're very much players internally, and that's driven our design decisions. To try to build the game that we as players wanted to be playing. So to me, the core of RTS is a lot about your attention being the primary resource. There's so much going on. A lot of the gameplay is about choosing what you're going to pay attention to. And I don't find that I have as much of that in MOBAs. You know, it's replaced with this team dynamic, which can be really fun, but it can also be kind of a drag, particularly when you have teammates that aren't pulling their weight. It tends to, you know, cause a lot of toxicity and anger within the community. So we were interested in taking some of the stuff we love about MOBAs, mainly the combat and the positional tactical combat, and marry it with what we think of as the essence of RTS, which is about having your attention as the resource and also being responsible for the outcome of the game myself. So if I win or lose, it's my fault. And you know, I think there's a lot of benefit and value to focusing on that.
You don't have macro.
Well, it manifests itself in some interesting ways. We don't have the trappings of the original RTS. We don't have base building. You know, we don't have gathering resources. We don't have a pure technology tree. You know, we're not producing units. But instead, we tried to capture a lot of the feelings of those things and spin them in a new way for players. So instead of base building, we have really your squad building is kind of similar to that. Like how the units you bring into the game really determine your long-term capability during the match. And then as you go out and defeat enemies, you're gaining experience, and then you're having to decide where to spend those level up points and what order you're going to bring online those abilities. And even though it doesn't look the same as an RTS, I think the thought process players go through ends up being similar. But we'll cover it a lot more when you guys are actually able to play. We feel like all this kind of came together to make what we think of as the next generation of RTS. We try to capture the original feel, marry it with something that appeals to a more modern and MOBA-style audience, and hopefully make it in a package that more people can get excited about. Another thing that's very important to us is that this be perceived as a hobby, not a throwaway experience, but these competitive games, players are playing day after day, month after month, hopefully year after year. And for that to really work, you need to offer them a lot of depth. We've tried to do the sort of classic, easy to learn, hard to master. And a lot of our depth comes in our unit customization. So you can see on the back wall here, these are kind of our heroes of the game. Like these are the pilots. They pilot these giant robotic rigs here. And when you get one of them, they come with a great loadout ready to go, lots of cool abilities to use. You can play with them right away. They're they're viable. But as you get a bit more skilled at the game, you start to gather alternate gear, and you can actually swap out their abilities for new abilities, abilities that aren't necessarily better, but could perhaps work better together, and could also perhaps complement your personal playstyle a little bit better. And a lot of that comes from that process of discovering kind of your perfect squad.
So the Holy Trinity is always the best.
It's not always the best, and you know, it's just like a MOBA. There's kind of like a constant ebb and flow to the metagame. You know, different loadouts kind of come in and out of favor. A lot of the top players spend a lot of time arguing about, you know, what's the ideal loadout. Right now, though, the Holy Trinity is actually being used quite a bit at the high levels of play. We've been engaging with a lot of Warcraft 3 and StarCraft pros and some MOBA pros, and to get their perspective on the game. And it's been fun watching some of these guys play. The other thing, I've talked about this sort of intense competitive play, but watching StarCraft and League of Legends on live, if you don't already play the game, it's really hard to follow what's going on. And not many people, it's not a great way for people to get into the game. You know? They're usually players first and then spectators later. So what we tried to do is use a lot of common sports language, just from normal field sports and things like that, things that people were already familiar with, as a gateway into the game. Hopefully we can kind of turn them into strategy gamers. But you know, they'll have something to get excited about that they can follow right away. For example, the match lasts exactly 15 minutes. There's an actual clock that's counting down, so everyone knows exactly how much time is left. And the player that wins is the player that scores the most points during that 15 minutes. So you've got a classic scoreboard with the time remaining. You know, everybody can kind of follow along there. And we've designed the game such that the action tends to get more and more intense as the game progresses. And the match is often decided in the final seconds. We try to get that sort of that basketball buzzer-beating shot. And the game is filled with those kind of moments of, you know, the edge of your seat, like, I have no idea what's going to happen next kind of things. So I'll tell you a brief overview of the rules since we don't have time to play through a tutorial, and we'll get you guys hands-on with the game. And we'll have a German coach for you, so you'll be able to understand all of it. Okay. So as I mentioned, it's a 15-minute match. Something that's cool about that is you know exactly what you're in for at the start. You know, a lot of times with a MOBA, 20 minutes is an hour and a half, I don't know. So you're on the hook for 15 minutes. And as I mentioned, the player with the most points wins. If it's tied at the end of 15 minutes, it goes to a sudden death overtime where the next point wins. So it kind of keeps it exciting for everybody, but there's always a winner and a loser. As I mentioned at the start of that, you're going to be rolling 3 of these heroes at one time. So you're splitting your attention. You got to decide who you're going to be focusing on. And at the start of the match, you're going to announce to the other player who you're bringing with you. Give you some opportunity to counterplay, excitement there. When you get into the match, though, this whole world has been taken over by this alien race called the Kavash. They are a neutral faction that is very aggressive towards both of you. And the heart of their power are these hives. They're these sort of large, almost snake-like creatures that are well defended. And there's several of them scattered around the map. When you destroy them, they'll put out one of these cores. Now these cores, you can think of it a bit like the ball in sports. You can pick it up and carry it with you. You want to take it to the center of the map, where we have the uplink or the goal. And you right click on it, and after a 10-second channel ability, the core will go away and you scored a point. So get out there, destroy the hives, get the cores, take it to the middle, score the points. Whoever does that the most wins the game. Well, there's one other catch, one other way to score points, and that's with a set of 3 map objectives. These change every match, so you never know what 3 you're going to be getting. And the first player to achieve these goals will get some bonus points. So for example, with this total vision, there are 4 vision towers scattered around the map. The first player to control all 4 of them will get the 2 points and claim this objective. Once it's claimed, nobody else can do it. That's it. And we do this mostly so, as I mentioned, everybody's trying to get to the middle to score points, and there's a lot of incentive to defend that uplink as well once you're in the lead. These map objectives give you an opportunity to go back out to the edge. So there's all, we get back to this theme of trying to split your attention. So you got to worry: is he going for the map objective? Is he trying to go up low core? And how am I going to counter that? And thinking about those kind of counterplays. The last major concept before we start playing is upgrades. So as you defeat the aliens, the collage, you get XP. That'll fill up this XP bar. When you get enough for a level up, you're going to decide which one of your units you want to make more powerful. So when you level them up, based on how they've been configured before the match, that'll determine what abilities come online, how their stats progress, all those sorts of things. The more powerful stuff doesn't come on until later levels. So a lot of the strategy that the macro is about getting this XP expediently while defending the uplink. So that's kind of like your resource that you're gathering in the game. And really these upgrades are a lot like your tech tree because they're determining what tools you're going to bring into the fights. So making sure that you're bringing the right tools at the right time is a big part of the strategic elements of the game. And of course, I can change around how these guys are configured outside of the matches. So after the match is over, I can go back into my builder, make some adjustments to my build. Maybe I didn't capitalize on this ability well enough. Let's go change that out, try something else, then jump right back in there and see if I'm able to make better use of that. The last thing I promise is come in on this dropship. This is basically your base. You can come back here to heal whenever you want, and if you die, this is where you respawn. So I'll get your coach in, and we will begin.